And just like that, people, that is why we love club football being back. That is why, listen, international break, I was over in Miami enjoying life. It wasn't enjoying the international break because Nigeria went and ruined it. Thank you very much. But this is exactly why we need club football back, man. The excitement, the drama, and of course, this weekend has filled us already with that. Newcastle beating Man City and Nottingham Forest with Sean Dyche bully Liverpool 3-0 at Anfield. Remember the mythical Anfield? The aura Anfield. It's getting run through like no man's business now. Like no man's business. People are running up in Anfield and collecting 3 points. You know? But again, this weekend, of course, there's still tomorrow to play. But it's feeling like advantage Arsenal in this title race. And I know if you're a Chelsea fan, you're probably thinking, hey, what about us? We're going to talk today as well about Chelsea because am I being unfair? Are Chelsea in this title race? I mean, if we said City were in the title race, we said Liverpool in the title race, why are Chelsea not in the title race? 3 points off Arsenal as it stands. Arsenal have a game in hand, but Chelsea are above Manchester City at the moment. So Chelsea are well within this title race. But it is advantage Arsenal this weekend. And at this point now, I'm going to be honest, people. As much as I'm saying advantage Arsenal because City and Liverpool drop points, I'm no longer including Liverpool in that. I'm no longer including Liverpool in the discussions when it comes to the title race or meaning anything for Arsenal. They're done. Liverpool are done in this title race. In fact, the bigger picture is about what's going to happen to this team, certain players, and the manager. That's what they need to focus on. Because Liverpool dropping points is nothing now. Liverpool are below Manchester United as it stands. Manchester United have +1 goal difference. Liverpool have -2. This football club spent 450 million on a title-winning squad and are 11th place with -2 goal difference. This cannot be understated. We know Liverpool are loved in the media. We know everybody likes to talk about how good Liverpool are. No. Crank up the heat. The way you would crank it up on Manchester United. The way you would crank it up on Arsenal. The way you would crank it up on Chelsea. Because anytime those 2-3 clubs take a blip or anything like that, you start to hear from the media, the mainstream media. We heard about Chelsea's $1 billion bottle jobs or whatever it was. Man United, Arsenal, that goes without saying. I need to see the heat cranked up on Liverpool. Because what they are serving up at the moment stinks. What they are serving up, it stinks, people. Onslaught cannot get a tune out of that squad. He cannot. Isak was in Haaland conversations. He's way right now. He went from Haaland conversations to I don't know if he's better than Danny Welbeck conversations. And I'm being dead serious. Danny Welbeck for England, by the way. But Liverpool v Nottingham Forest. I thought Murillo had a really good game. Not only because he scored, I actually thought Murillo had a really solid game defensively. I thought he was putting his body on the line. There was one point where there was a clear a shot, and I was thinking that looks like something that so many defenders was handball, but he was there. Hit him in his chest, and he was ready to keep going. So shout out to Murillo. I thought that was a really good performance for real. And I think, look, at the thing about Liverpool is not only is it that they're losing matches, it's the manner in which they're losing. I think Liverpool right now are looking, I'm going to say toothless. They're going to look toothless. A lot of talk is going to be about Mohamed Salah, Isak, which I understand. Mohamed Salah is way off it this season, and he's going to go off to AFCON, and he's going to go off to he's going to be thinking about the World Cup as well. In terms of Salah having a good season from here, I don't know how high the chances are. Before he starts turning his attention to international duty, right? But then you've got a situation where you're playing Szoboszlai again is at right back. McAllister hasn't got anything going on this season. Szoboszlai at right back, who I think has been their best midfielder this season. Ryan Gravenberch. A lot of talk about him last season. Not seeing it this. I'm seeing him in conversation with Caicedo and Declan Rice. Not for me. Not for me. I don't think he's there yet. I think he's a fantastic football player, but I think his passing range isn't the greatest. And I think in sometimes, maybe again, he's somebody that maybe he needs to play in one of the 8 roles, and then they need to get a 6 in. I always thought they needed to get a 6 in this summer. They didn't. All right? So maybe that's a disappointment on that end in terms of the recruitment. But the main thing for me, I know a lot of people are going to talk about Salah. They're going to talk about Isak. And rightfully so in terms of Isak. Now, bro, you've been at the club for a while. People are going to talk about fitness. It needs to start, something needs to start shaking. Something needs to start shaking. It's a record transfer in the Premier League. Something needs to start shaking. And Isak isn't doing anything at the moment worth even talking about. That's the worst thing about it. It's not even worth talking about. But my thing is, Konate is all over the place at the moment. I don't know if the contract talks are in his mind or whatever. But I want to talk about Virgil van Dijk, people. I feel like when Virgil van Dijk has a 6 out of 10 game, he gets called, the goal. He's done this, done that. And I'm not going to go and talk about GOAT conversations. But every time he has a steady game, it's like, it was no concern with Virgil van Dijk. Now, I'm looking at Van Dijk this season. I'm looking at his body language especially. For a captain, I think his body language is shocking. I'm not going to lie. I think Van Dijk's body language and what he's radiating to the team at the moment is really negative. It's negative towards Konate. I've seen it towards Kirkes. I see it towards his midfielders. It looks like he thinks that he's above everybody else and like, what's everyone doing? He's throwing his toys out the pram a little bit. And he's the captain. He was the captain in the good times when they went last season. But when there was the bad times with Jordan Henderson sometimes, some of them seasons, I didn't see him drop his head the way Van Dijk does. I didn't see him moaning. Steven Gerrard's, Sammy Hibbias, you can go back. The Virgil van Dijk for me is radiating this negative energy where it's like he doesn't have to overexert himself. And when he does, it's like, what's the rest of you guys doing? What you guys are not up for it? I'm like, bro, you're not playing well. You were very quick to go and speak to Wayne Rooney and try and pattern Wayne Rooney or whatever about what he said about you, but it was only one win. It was only one win. And since then, it's just reverted back to type. I think that's something that needs to be looked at. And when your captain has that energy, it then radiates onto the manager. It then radiates, and you don't look at the manager, sorry. Is the manager getting a tune out of these people? They don't look like they're running as hard. They don't look like they're working as hard. Is Onslaught getting a tune? Because I'm not going to lie, people. May sound harsh. It may sound, but one, we can put last season down to a blip, really and truly. We have to put it down to a blip. Overperformance from Salah as well. We'll credit him with that. 6 wins, 6 losses after spending 400 million. Yeah. Picking up a title winning squad that he won the league with. I think this is sack-worthy. I think what Onslaught and Liverpool are doing, and a lot of people are going to say, you're reactionary. I think this is sack-worthy. 6 losses in your first 12 games. 50% of Liverpool games are losses at the moment. 50%. That is shocking data. And it's the manner in not getting the best out of Salah anymore. Not getting the best out of your big money signing in Verts. Not getting the best out of Isak. The constant dropping of Ekitike or Isak. That's going to cause some problems. Can't get a tune out of Van Dijk at the moment. I'm thinking to myself, are these guys playing for this manager at the moment? And the constant stuff that he's saying in the media, he just sounds crazy at this point. The constant stuff that he's talking about, the long balls and teams are playing different against us as they do against other teams, sound a little bit delusional for me. I'm not going to lie, if I'm Liverpool at this moment, I am going to be calling some agents. Yo, is he interested in coming to Liverpool? Because, at the moment, I just don't see it. I don't see it. And it's feeling like a fluke last season. It really is feeling like a fluke title win. The Premier League let Onslaught win the league in his first season. That might be damning on the league. Onslaught winning the league in his first season in the Prem. Yo, that's like a glitch in the matrix that we don't need to think about in 3, 4, 5 years. Honestly, that's spooky for me. That's spooky. But guys, let me know what you think about Liverpool. I think they're done. They're in the battle for the top 4 now. If they keep Onslaught and they keep playing this way, they're going to lose plenty more matches this season. Plenty more. But let's move on to Man City. Honestly, I think with this Manchester City game, when you look at Newcastle, right, this is what they live for. Top 6 games at St. James, when everybody's watching, Newcastle live for these type of fixtures. They live for these type of games. It's scary going to St. James in these moments. And when I saw the City team, I thought, okay, that's their strong team. But when I saw Cherki starting, you know I'm a big fan of Cherki, but I thought, is this a game for Ryan Cherki? Is this a game, the way they congest the middle, the way Newcastle at home make teams play to their tempo, their speed, their way of playing? I didn't think it was a game for Ryan Cherki. I really didn't. I thought Doku showed flashes. I thought Haaland had a few that he should have scored. Foden definitely should have scored. But Newcastle had their moments. Voltmada could have got 2. Harvey Barnes, honestly, I feel like he could have got a hat-trick today. Even before he got the brace. I actually think, by the way, Harvey Barnes is one of the most underrated players in the Premier League. I actually think he's a really good player. And I've always, of course, maybe he doesn't get enough run of games, but I thought he should always be an option for England on that left-hand side in terms of, I don't know about you guys, I don't think Anthony Gordon is better than Harvey Barnes. Like, astronomically, the way he's a guaranteed England squad player and Harvey Barnes isn't getting call-ups. I don't think there's much difference between them two. And in fact, I think Harvey Barnes runs better. I think he's quicker, scores goals. I honestly think Harvey Barnes is levels or even better. I think he's a very underrated player, even from the Leicester days. But one big thing for Newcastle is they have their fullbacks back. Tino and Lewis Hall. Both of them two coming back is important because they've had to be putting down Burn. They've had to be putting guys out of position. It's not really what they've wanted to have at the fullback position. But them two coming back with that midfield 3, you know, the shield, that midfield 3 of Dean Ambrose, Roman Reigns, and Seth Rollins, in Bruno Guimaraes, Tonali, and Joe Linton. We know what them guys are going to do. They're going to mix it up. They're going to work hard. But not only that, they're going to show on-ball quality as well, which Bruno and Tonali especially have. And that's what they did again today. Voltmada could have scored. But again, they made City play to their tempo and their way of playing. Doku, as I said, had flashes. But it wasn't enough. I feel Phil Foden should have scored them chances. But it wasn't enough. And I actually think Newcastle deserved this result. I don't think it's a result. Donnarumma was probably the man of the match for City. Was probably the man of the match. He was making save after save and showing his value. But at the end of the day, it is one of them situations that Erling Haaland has drawn a blank. He drew a blank against Spurs, drew a blank against Villa. I don't know what their scoreline versus Spurs was. Let me try and get that up. His scoreline versus Spurs, they lost. So each game that Erling Haaland has not scored in this season, Manchester City have lost. That is what you call over-reliance, people. And that is what you call not sustainable. I said City are well in this. If they beat Liverpool and Newcastle, then I would say they are serious. But they failed at this Newcastle hurdle. They're still below. They're still not on Arsenal's level at the moment. Erling Haaland is a generational freak of nature. But if he cannot, as good as he is, it can't be just the Erling Haaland show every single. These players will have to chip in more regularity. It can't just be against Liverpool. It can't week in, week out. There's got to be running mates. There's got to be running mates. And the proof's in the puds with those statistics. But listen, guys, I'm not too shocked that they lost. I'm gonna be honest. I thought when Arsenal won at St. James, it's one of the biggest results of the season. I thought that was a big result when Gabriel scored that winner, because I know what St. James Park is like. I know what it's like when you go to Newcastle in these games. And the question is, why can't Newcastle do this week in, week out? They get up for these games. The fans get up. They push them to the last minute. but it needs to be in more regularity for them too. And you know what? Credit to Eddie Howe, because he's under pressure at the moment. I'm looking at him as one of their managers that, oh, are you sneakily under pressure? He's got 14th in the table right now. But it can change very quickly. There's 5 points between 14th and 4th, you know, but you're relying on a lot of results to go your way. So credit to him, big win. And again, advantage Arsenal. Advantage Arsenal. That's a big 3 points that they've lost out on Man City. We'll see how they're going to bounce back from this one. We'll see how they bounce back from this one. But again, as I said, I thought they actually did really well to keep, even though Haaland had chances, that's Erling Haaland, they did really well to kind of nullify him in a way to kind of get physical with him and to kind of nullify his game today. You know, they boxed out the middle, so Cherki and Foden couldn't play. When they did get moments to break through, Cherki put it to the side, Foden should have scored. But it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough. It didn't feel like City were going to get it. And, you know, credit to Newcastle, credit to Harvey Barnes. Guys, now, Chelsea. I always say Chelsea right now, one of these teams who I don't have much opinion on them at the moment, because they're just so like they haven't got like a standout star at the moment, like a Cole Palmer. They've got Caicedo, but you know, he's a defensive midfielder. He didn't even start today. He didn't even play today, in fact. So when I look at them, you think to yourself, sometimes when you're looking at Liverpool, you think about Salah, you think about Mbeumo or something, and these clubs, Haaland and blah, 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 Saka, all this stuff. When I look at Chelsea, it's just kind of like, okay, not really much to say, but they're trucking along. And they are taking advantage of, for me, everyone else kind of being like, oh, you guys want to be weak around? Okay, cool. We'll just go about our business. And they've won 4 of their last 5. They've got Arsenal coming up. That's a top of the table clash. That is a top of the table clash. At Stamford Bridge, Arsenal go to Stamford Bridge. That is a top of the table clash at the moment. First versus second. A lot of Chelsea fans, I'm going to give them their credit. A lot of Chelsea fans have been saying to me, yo, Pedro Neto's actually been good this season. I'm like, I'm not sure about Pedro Neto. I'll get Esteval starting. But credit to him today. That was an absolutely lovely header. From back post. Good ball in from Jamie Gittins, from Bino Gittins. Good ball in and a good goal. A good cushioned header. Not something that you expect from him. I saw one statistic that says when Liam Delap... Now, this isn't to boost him, but when Liam Delap starts, Chelsea score 3 goals a game on average. And when he doesn't start, they score 1.27 goals a game or something like that. And you get the best out of João Pedro when he starts. Obviously, he didn't score today, but they need that focal point up front. They need that focal point. So Neto, so Gittins, so Garnacho, so these guys can be able to play. And you know what? You got to give credit to Chelsea. You've got to give credit to what Maresca is doing at the moment. Because as I said, he's slyly going along. I actually had Chelsea as second this season in my predictions. But I quickly was like, whoa, I'm going to have to take that back. So I'm not going to come back here and be like, oh, I told you. Nah. But they've got to go and be getting the jobs done. And that's what they're doing. And that's why I've got to give Chelsea massive credit. Obviously, Enzo Fernandez on the score sheet again. You know, at this point, you've got to start saying again. I'm telling you, man, this guy, bro. It's the Kevin Nolan, bro. It's the Kevin Nolan. But he's on the score sheet again. He's got 4 goals in the league this season. And you've got to give him the credit as well. Finding, you know, a way of being effective. And this was a game without Caicedo. So Santos playing alongside Fernandez, I thought that was a good performance as well, you know. And I actually thought Burnley tried. They obviously Chelsea is a step too far. They tried, but I think Chelsea's quality prevailed. I thought Cucurella was good again today. He's becoming one of the most consistent players. And overall, as I said, you've got to give Chelsea and Maresca credit, because I think they're doing this quietly. I don't think there's much noise around Chelsea. I don't think there's much talk. Just going about their business and getting the job done. So credit to them. Credit to Pedro Neto getting on the score sheet. He definitely still needs to do that more. And yeah, man, no Esteval, no Caicedo. You know, who else was missing today? Garnacho didn't come on. So, you know what I mean? They were even able to rest players because they got Barcelona. I will be there, people. Barcelona versus Chelsea. I spat everywhere. Fucking hell. Barcelona versus Chelsea this week. That is going to be box office. I will be there. I will be watching that game. I don't know if I'm going to watch along for it, people, but I am going to watch that game. And you know, it's a Barcelona thing right now. But talking about Barcelona, Barcelona are back home. Barcelona are back at the Camp Nou, and there's no better way to welcome the Camp Nou than a 4-0 victory. A flawless display as well. I thought that was a perfect performance, and Barcelona dominated the ball, offensively looked potent. I'm telling you, this team, a lot of people are saying, nah, you got to allow him like Loa and Unks. No. This is a different team when Loa is there. He's still Loa. He's still a gunman. He still puts chances away. Barcelona are a better team when he's there, and Rafinha come back from injury now. Barcelona are top of the table, of course. Real Madrid have game in hand, but I said get everybody back, get Garcia back, get Loa back, get Rafinha back, get the players back, and Barcelona can get away with this high line madnesses because the potency, the killer in front of goal, the way they can score at different types of ways will prevail for the league anyway. For the Champions League, it might be a different discussion. But again, they need Pedri back, of course. When Pedri comes back, he's out at the moment. But Lamine Yamal needed that rest because today he lit up the Camp Nou. He lit up the Camp Nou. Today, Balde was playing left wing. There wasn't Rafinha starting. There wasn't Rashford. Pedri still missing. But Lamine Yamal today, the skills were back. The entertainment. The 2 assists. You see both assists? One outside the football from 30 yards. The other one, I'm going to dribble past 3 and just slide in a through ball. This guy is world level. The best in the world in my eyes. And I'll keep saying it. The best in the world. But that performance was lovely, man. Honestly, it was full cruise control. Obviously, Sanchez, I think his name is, gets sent off. That was a disgusting challenge, by the way. Booted him in the knee. I actually said Fermin Lopez would score the first goal at the Camp Nou opening up, but it was low. I should have known. But guys, Barcelona 4-0. But listen, both teams, Barcelona and Chelsea, are going into that game on good form. Going into that game feeling themselves. So I'm looking forward to that game. That's going to be my game of the week. Barcelona v Chelsea. We will be there to watch these two teams go head to head. Guys, like, share, subscribe, turn notifications on. It's your boy CultureCams. I'm out. Guys, road to 60k. Let's get to 60k. I'm out. Peace.